Zack here from GBC. Time. Hello, everyone.
That was weird.
I know it's been a while since I've done this, and it's definitely trial by fire once all over again. So,
That was an interesting intro. I didn't know you were going to do that.
Well, I figure it gives people something a little bit more to see off the bat, and so works out pretty well. Let's bring our third mad evil scientist here.
There he is.
Hey, what's happening?
There he is. Ooh, look at that fancy ceiling.
Yeah, I'm up in Idaho. So anyway, what's up, gentlemen?
Good. I'm glad. It's a secret mission you're on. It's the Manifest Destiny California version that we're hoping to expand our borders out.
We're trying to corrupt them up here.
So, we'll see if Sam is upright enough to join us. But, as we mentioned last month, this was technically our 5-year anniversary. I know we've been riding together for far longer than that. And technically GBC has, but it's just a nice, neat little package saying it's been 5 years since our first Pacifico ride. And I thought after all the gravel guides we put together, which I think is about 80 gravel guides, I thought it was time to look back and try and put it all together. And I know not every route has been covered, but I think we've done a pretty good job of hitting up all the major ones across the state, right?
I didn't realize we'd done 80. That's quite a lot.
That's big.
Yeah.
It's a lot of editing.
Yeah. I'm glad it's you, not me.
Yeah. Well, for 5 years, that's about 16 a year. So it's about 4 every 3 months. Just throwing out a lot of math here. So, I kind of thought I would review the top 10 list, which I know I came up with since I tend to be on all these rides that I make videos for. But it was really interesting looking at this compilation and the top 10 list. Vic, you actually have done 9 of the top 10. And
that's and I'm so happy because they're all great. What's the one that I missed?
Lassen Gravel Adventure.
Which one?
Lassen Gravel Adventure.
Yeah.
But outside of this list, before we delve into, we're going to go through each of the rides really quickly and kind of mention them. But I came up with this list. What ranks is like some of your favorite rides, or maybe you think one that I overlooked that we've been on?
Well, the most recent one for me is Catalina. Catalina is a ride I've been wanting to do for a decade. And we finally did it, and it exceeded my expectations. It was just amazing, beautiful. I want to go back and camp and spend more than one day there, make that sickening boat ride worth it.
We'll just start off in the back, not inside.
Yeah, we know what to do on the boat now.
Yeah.
But yeah, Catalina for sure for me is one because all the rides we do are great, but that was like, because it was on an island, it just, the whole trip was just fun and great, and I loved that. So
yeah, I have to agree with Vic on Catalina, but Catalina, I think you guys will agree, was kind of a perfect storm in a good way, because first of all, riding with you guys, our crew, because Zach, you're the consummate guide, navigator, logistics man. So any paperwork you need, any permits,
bison tamer,
we just kind of have to show up and ride. and then Vic, you're always up for anything, and we could be on the worst ride in the worst weather, but you'll find something good about it, and like, oh yeah, that ride was fun. And then we had Jace, who I'd never ridden with before,
Yes.
was super strong, and literally on the descent is like a 12-year-old boy at Magic Mountain on the first day of summer. I mean, the guy's like bunny hopping everything, and it was really fun. And then on top of it, our weather and the greenery in Catalina. So, but the ride itself was, I think it's my favorite of all so far. But those things did enhance it, and I don't know we could reproduce that day, but pretty close.
We did luck out on the weather and the crew, and Jace was a perfect addition.
Yeah.
And it was just, it couldn't have been better.
Yeah, I mean, he's like Sam times 2. He's a worthy replacement. You know.
Yeah, that was a great day. Oh my gosh, I just kept talking about it at work. You know, the following week.
Too bad we lost Dom for most of the ride, but
I don't know Dom very well, but he seems fun.
No, Dom is super fun, but he missed the boat literally.
Yeah, I mean,
you mentioned something that wasn't on the list, and you know, one that comes to mind that was really fun was that one we did. Is it the San Francisco Dam or something where the telephone was in the middle of nowhere?
Yes, that was San Francisco and Warm Springs out of San.
That was fun. That was a fun ride.
That was pretty interesting, and I know that was probably about 45 miles. We did a counterclockwise loop, and then we did a little bit of Lake Hughes Road, and then did the Warm Springs Truck Trail. And that was kind of a little choppy then. Apparently now a lot of it has even been washed out.
Oh, okay.
So, you know, that's the one thing when I tell people about the gravel guides, like, you know, they're not evergreen. Conditions do change. And you can get through there, I guess, but it's a lot of hike-a-bike. And
if you remember, we were the only guys on gravel bikes. Everybody else was on mountain bikes.
They were on like trail bikes.
That was our first clue.
What are you guys doing here?
140 travel mountain bikes, and we're on gravel bikes with no suspension. So that was our first clue.
Yeah, I do want to explore that area a lot more. Because there definitely seems to be a lot more gravel in the area. It's kind of remote, and as we know, it's hot out there. So it takes a lot of planning and a lot of coordination. But yeah, it's funny because, you know, Santa Clarita feels a little bit more deserty than the surroundings, but it's not too far where you feel like you're in the forest. And it's a pretty nice change of pace up there. You know, not to mention the old Ridge route is really close to the area, which I don't know if qualifies as gravel, but I haven't made a gravel guide for it. That's why I didn't make the list. So quickly to review, there was a couple criteria. Like my criteria for the list was kind of more of, well, first of all, I didn't include events where the course changes all the time, like the one that you're wearing, Bill, because I wanted to send something out there that, you know, if somebody wanted to copy the route, then they could. And even Rock Cobbler, you know, changes the route every year, and it's on private land. So I didn't want to send people into places, because also the people of these events, they scout these areas a lot, and they will redirect the route. Mammoth, Tuff, they want to keep the same route, but, you know, some of the logistics make them have to change it up. So, you know, that was kind of like my main criteria. You know, I had to have good riding. A couple of the rides on the list probably fell back a little bit because it was a little choppier. And then, you know, the moments and celebrating why you get to experience places on a bike ranked really high. And the versatility of a gravel bike, you know, plays into it, because, you know, I'm sure some of these rides could be better on a mountain bike or a road bike, depending on where you go. So tried to make it a little gravel specific, but, you know, the unique tie was, you know, the moments and probably not riding. Give you reasons not to ride along the way. So I think that especially the top 5, but, man, just even like looking over all the things, it didn't even make honorable mention. Like Truckee wasn't on my honorable mention, which was a great area too. But it just kind of shows how blessed we are with all the choices out there.
Wow, setting a high bar.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, well, let's just kind of. I'm gonna throw up the video here, and hopefully I can just jump to parts of the areas on here that shows the top 10 list. And I'll scooch a little bit down, but the one that I started with was, oh, here we go. It's kind of in the background here.
Who's that guy?
Yeah, look at that guy. Was Big Bear was number 10. This was kind of like the first ride that we did that we kind of decided, hey, let's go out of town. It's COVID. Let's all drive separately for 2 hours.
That was terrible.
Oh yeah, we're all cars.
Forgot about that.
But this was really cool because we did it in the summertime, like our send it in a couple weeks. It was not as hot, but I think it was more the elevation that got to us. But yeah, it was a pretty gorgeous area there. Any thoughts on Big Bear you'd like to add?
Well, I know we're going to go to Big Bear again soon, so I'm looking forward to that. But getting acclimated was tough for me on that first ride. And you guys just destroyed me. I didn't feel like I was ready until the ride was like
halfway in.
Yeah, no, like almost over. Like when we saw the guy in the Jeep, we were almost done. Like that's when I finally started feeling good. But visually and the terrain, even the road part was really, really cool. And yeah, but if you're gonna go to Big Bear, just be prepared for thin air. That's what I would say.
Yeah. I found that to me, Big Bear on my own list ranks a little higher. I was just surprised, like going up there as a kid, playing in the snow and skiing. I didn't know some of that terrain was there, and that when we were on the north or the other side of the lake, on that beautiful stretch of rolling gravel, it was almost like a Strada Bianca. It was almost white, and then we did that single track through the trees that was like smooth and flowing. That was a fun day. I would, to me, I rank a little higher, but I would go back in a heartbeat.
I don't think we're supposed to mention the single track.
Oh.
Well, the tour of the Big Bear has a single track section. I guess they're including again this year, so it's a good thing to repeat. And it's funny because it's actually part of the high school. So it's like a big, extensive piece of single track that goes around the high school. It's a few miles worth. So we'll be waiting for, some people to really break out and be great riders over there. But it was a big learning lesson with the elevation. I've learned my tips is to not drive up there so fast. Take a couple breaks if you're going straight up. So, and Anton knows about the single track. It was pretty awesome over there. So it's quite a playground, and I know people have always asked about like riding up there, the San Bernardino Mountains, and it kind of seems even though you've got like Lake Arrowhead and Lake Gregory. The Big Bear area seems to have the best gravel opportunities nearby. Am I coming to Big Bear? I think I am, but I think I have to leave right away because my daughter she's in Mean Girls. I'll be plugging that, and I hope everyone is able to make Big Bear and the Mean Girls, the musical. So quickly, number 9 here was Everyone Loves Raymond, and Vic and I did this last year. You have an East course and a West course, or you can do them both kind of combined together. The first year we did the shorter Pint Route, which went on the Chowchilla River, and this being in springtime, you could just see how green it was. super verdant. And this year I meant to do the other one, but I was sick. But that still looked fabulous as well. But you're always wondering about riding in the foothills of the Sierras and not having to go up so much. And it just is a super golden area over there. And the next year, I'm really looking forward to doing the Growler.
Okay, so this one we also got very lucky though with the greenery and the amount of water in the river there, because they told us that normally that time of year is brown and there's no water. So
that was also it got pushed back twice because of rain. So normally when we did it, it was on April Fool's, but generally, their new date has been in February now. So we did luck out in April, but the event is meant to be held in February. And
so what does that mean? Will it be green and wet? Or will it be brown?
When I went in February, there were threats of rain. And I think it might have rained at the very end for people that were coming in mid-late afternoon.
I remember that. Yeah, it rained.
But it was super gorgeous out there. Great conditions. Not a lot of people in the area. You do go on some regular roads, but it is a really gorgeous area at that time of the year. Probably does dry out in the summertime. And as Henry says, like people from Fresno, like basically you just keep going up the mountains when it gets hotter. So, this is probably really good for 6 months out of the year at least. But I absolutely loved it, and the water was sparkling.
It was gorgeous. I'll say this: the roads you could ride really, really fast. The gravel is very smooth, or pretty smooth. But Zach was like, "No, you have to look around. You have to take it all in." So it was one of those things. Like, I want the hammer, and Zach wants to take out the drone every 5 minutes. So I don't know. It depends on what you want to do with the ride, because you can blast it if you want to, because the conditions are ripe for a full night.
Yeah, I think if you did like the full route, that's a great route if you're just trying to get a pretty good time in. And they do, even though, it's not a race, there's no prizes, there's always a handful of people that are trying to really push. And I probably would have done that more on the Growler this time had I not been sick. And then I just happened to bring my drone just in case, who knows. And I did get sick, and then I lost the drone in a tree for a half hour. That was there was a guy who kept on saying, "You got a ladder on you? How about a rope?" I'm like, no.
The start though is hard. It's a road start, and you start on a pretty big climb, right? It's
not that bad. I mean, it's a mile.
To start, it was. Well, if you're trying to go fast, some guys really took off. And I thought, yeah, I'll just go with them. And then I was like, what am I doing? No, I'm not going with these guys. They're going way too fast on this big hill, and I don't know where I'm going. So, but yeah, I thought that was a kind of a little tough climb just out of the gate.
No, I think the tough climb was that one near the middle.
Well, that was super tough. But
a lot of people, most of the people were walking, and that's the one negative. But I think like you just kind of saw those people; they were happy to go through the experience, and like, I'll put up with a mile of.
They weren't happy at that point.
They weren't as angry as I would have thought.
It wasn't like Rock Cobbler mad.
Yeah, no.
It wasn't like, I hate you.
Don't get me started on that.
Oh, I know, Bill's favorite. Sam. I hate you, Sam.
All right. Now this guy, number 8 on the list was Pacifico Mountain. We just did this, or at least Bill did, just a couple weeks ago. This is one of my favorite rides, and it's funny because I hadn't done this exact loop in 2 years, and I'm like, I've absorbed a lot of other things in that time. Maybe my perspective has changed, but Bill, for all the times we've done it, like I kind of felt like it was in the best condition of any time we've been out there.
That was I think I've done it. That was my third time, and that was my favorite. The last time we did it, that was really, and we had a good crew too. That was a really strong group. That was a fun day. I enjoyed it, and even though it was hot-ish, it was it was fine. We had to stop for water, and the trail was in good condition. The descents were really fun. Yeah, nothing to and no flats.
Mm-hmm.
Can I have a descending? What's it called?
Dissenting. Okay.
Yeah, I disagree with you on this one as one of my favorites. I've done it. I like it. The best part is the top where the picnic tables are.
Mm-hmm.
Once you get there, it's all good. But it's always sandy and bugs and off-road vehicles, and it's not my favorite. I don't hate it. I think it's cool, but I don't rank it nearly as high as you do. So just to be contrarian, I'm just gonna say that.
No, this is great YouTube here. Yes.
Yeah. I'm not feeling that one as much as you do.
It's hard though. I mean, it's
hard.
It's hard.
And like you said, it's usually very hot.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm rethinking being at the anniversary ride in June because maybe it is a little hot. I always thought that April and May are probably the best conditions, and it's not as sandy in those times because you still have some of the wet winter residue packing in a little bit firmer. But
we kind of did that recon. We did it the other way, like a month before, and there was still like water flowing across the trail. I'm trying to remember when we did that. It was about a month before, but I think the water was more that new section that we had tried that parallels Angeles Forest Highway. To me, it being a ride that's so close to LA is what puts me in awe of it. And just an amazing juxtaposition to everything. And I love that most of the climbing is done after the first 13 miles. Yeah.
Not as many big efforts, but yes. I mean, look, we did a very hot time of the year, and it's still doable. So that was kind of another one of my criteria, like rides you can do throughout the year. So yeah, I think you pull this off for about 9 months out of the year in 2024. We will go back to number 7, which is Half Moon Bay. And
now you're talking.
Yes. Now it was interesting because I kind of combined 2 routes when I did Ascend It. It was such a fantastic ride when we did it, Vic, that I was like, I put Ascend It up there like 6 months later. And we had done the meat of the route was about the same. Hard to say which part was better because at the very beginning we added this Pilar Point, which overlooks something, which overlooks the ocean, which is really awesome. But that one section where you're just riding along the coast is fantastic. And what we did with Andy was he did a little bit of the Parisma Creek. But when I did the Send It with everyone, we had went up Tenitas Creek, and as part of that, we did a little small appendage into the area called the Bike Hut, which definitely is like one of my top 5 most unique bike-centric places in California. It's a self-service coffee shop. Where it's like
something that wouldn't work here.
So
people would help themselves.
Oh yeah, to everything, it'd be all gone.
But they've got snacks, they've got stuff to fix your bike. You make your own coffee. You leave a little money. It's right in front of a farm, so our system does work. They do have something called the Bike Hut Classic, which I think is coming up very soon. That they've got some really cool jerseys you can buy for it, and you get to have your name up on a plaque if you've won up on the wall, which is really cool. It's just a very, very unique spot. But I kind of like this way because we got a little bit more redwoods through the climb, and that was paved. But the descent through the redwoods is fantastic, and the fact you're so close between the ocean right there, riding on the ridge, and the cypress, the banyan trees.
Banyan trees. I was gonna say you missed the banyan trees, like Steely Dan songs. Banyan trees, like where do you see banyan trees? It's epic. That is definitely up there for me.
Yeah, and that's probably a ride that ranks super high on you can do it any time of the year.
Yes.
As long as it's not raining.
Yep.
But obviously being there in Half Moon Bay, you're never going to get too hot. And then kind of like when you climb into the trees up there, you've got like these 80-foot trees at least that providing you layers of cover. And so it's a really great area. And, that part of it's, San Mateo County, which kind of blends into Palo Alto's on the other side, and Woodside, which is a great cycling hub. That's an amazing area. Would be like high in my consideration of places to live if you love cycling.
And if you can pull it off, you can stay at the Waldorf Astoria. It's right there on the water. That's awesome.
Yes, that's a plug, and hopefully my inclusion on the list will get me some free nights there.
Yes.
All right, now we're going to number 6, and Bill, I'm kind of surprised. Have you done this before, Bill?
I haven't.
Oh, you're missing it.
I know. I'm just I've done some mountain biking out there, but not anything on gravel.
Yeah, I mean, Alabama Hills is probably by far the most unique area on this list.
It's like another planet.
Yeah.
It's a Disneyland. I mean, first of all, Bill, you're super familiar with Mount Whitney, cresting it like what you've done 100 times so far. Seems like it.
Yeah. You're off by 98.
But Alabama Hills sits right underneath it, and I think I got this last shot here of Vic here, who's just through the Mobius arch with Mount Whitney. Maybe I'm a little bit off, but Mount Whitney is right behind, and these rock formations are just so unreal. And I remember, it's been in so many movies. I guess probably the most recent one I was able to connect with was the first Iron Man, where it's supposed to take place in Afghanistan, with Mount Whitney in the background. And I was like, hey, I know that place. But this was definitely more about the scenery because we took we did Vic and I did a little abbreviated version, not going through Tuttle Creek, which goes a little west and has those really great rock formations before going up Whitney Portal Road, and then right before you start hitting the switchbacks and going up into the Sierra, that's where you take the downhill road, which is definitely you want to do downhill because it's probably too sandy to go the other way, but it has just the amount of sand that makes it super slidey and fun. And then you kind of get into these rock formations here, which is a little side diversion, but just absolutely gorgeous. And Bill, you're going to Mammoth next month?
I am.
Yeah, I'm kind of surprised. No, that's also you're going to make it back in time for Mean Girls, right?
Actually, no.
Oh, darn.
No, I think. Wait, what day is Mean Girls?
It's during that weekend.
Yeah.
So that's why I can't make the Mammoth trip. So that's why I'm going to try and do Dirty Bear early in the morning and then jet back and catch this fantastic play, which I'll probably add a link to tickets in the description at some point. But yeah, Alabama Hills is just, I mean, first of all, I love Eastern Sierra, and just, these are different types of, even though it's a volcanic area, these are different types of rocks that fill it up, and how you come to shapes like this is just kind of nuts. Is all I can say.
There's also, to get to that rock, it's kind of a cool little single track thing.
Yeah.
Keeps in and out. That was unexpected because most of it's just wide gravel.
Mm-hmm.
But to get to that little arch thing, what is it called? Mobius rock?
Yeah.
It's a cool little single track.
No. Well, I'll go right to number 5 here. Oops. There we go. This is the one that neither of you have done.
No.
And this was one that has been super high on my list for a while, but the problem is when you Lassen County, if someone like me going out there, it'd be tough for us to go drive 10 hours out there and not know much about it. So when they put on this event, it definitely gives you far more confidence. Like, okay, I can go check this area out. And the Biz Johnson Trail, which the eastern part starts out of Susanville, is on the Rails to Trails Hall of Fame, and it's just absolutely gorgeous going on the river. And if you just do that, where they do have, I think their course covers 14 miles of it, does I think extend 25 miles, but then you can if you do the longer distances, you go further out into the forest. And one thing that's interesting to me about forests are there's a lot of trees in them. And sometimes that blocks your views. But because, Mount Lassen is really close with volcanic activity, there are a lot of open spaces, so you're not always closed in. But also what amazes me is with not a high density amount of people in the area, how the course itself or all the fire roads up there are in fantastic shape. And it's just the geography of it that kind of pulls it in. And Mark and Linda that helped organize it did a fantastic. It was a rookie event. So and now they've added a family ride, which I'm trying to see if I can work this out somehow because it's the week before Mammoth Tuff. So doesn't sound easy. But the courses themselves are pretty flat compared to others. I think the 70 mile I did was 2,000 or 3,000 feet of climbing only. So yeah, it's fantastic. And our friend Wynn, he's doing it. So I have another reason I have to go now. But yeah, it's a fantastic area. And fortunately, there's a lot of other fun things to do around there that if you are trying to find reasons just other than the ride to make it up there, there's plenty of things to see. Lassen National Park, not too far from Reno, and Blind Onion Pizza. That's a plug. Anyways, we will go to number 4. Graham. Still learning how to do this. Which, Mount Tam. And I know, Bill, we just missed it, but I know, Bill, you had met Craig when we did Old Calves, as we were kind of switching off there that one day.
Yeah.
But, Mount Tam itself, the history alone puts it high on the list. The views are pretty amazing. And, yeah, you just can't beat the history and the amount of trails. I just kind of stuck to Craig's route to keep it simple, and you just go through so many regions. You could break it into a few different rides. There's so many great things to see here. And just being able to look over the bay, going kind of on the fringe of Golden Gate Bridge, but you can almost feel the history and why someone decided to invent mountain bikes to ride this area.
I love that area, and the whole town would just cycle. No matter what kind of bike you had, it was a ride for you. And I saw kids, I saw guys look like pro tour riders, in other words, gravel riders, mountain bikers. Everything is up there, and the camping is great up there. And yeah, I definitely want to go back because I didn't go to the museum, which was, I don't know why that was a big mistake, but yeah, Let's do that again.
Yeah, I know when we did it, we had done a slightly different route, and went up Eldridge grade, and we made a different descent from the video. But we did go up railroad grade to the top of Mount Tam, which I guess has 2 peaks. And it was interesting because when we did our Send It, which was in July, and I know, Bill, we've had this problem when we did Old Kaz, was, it's gorgeous, no clouds in the sky. And then once you get to the coast,
Oh my God. That was no, I totally forgot about that. That was nuts.
Can't see anything.
Yeah. And I was like,
it was blowing so hard and cloudy, and yeah, it was nuts.
We were both like, we got to go. We're so close to seeing the ocean. And like, no, we're turning around. And it was the same thing for us here. And I know that this ride we did in July. But, yeah, I guess the only thing is the surface is a little choppy enough it belongs in Southern California. But, there's so much to love and absorb. It's something that you definitely need to do a few times to feel super comfortable.
Was it Big Sur was like that with the fog?
Yeah, well, we got that on our ride, and I guess there's no escaping coastal fog.
Yeah,
altogether. But I believe that, like, you would expect it not to happen more in summer, but I believe it happens more in the summer. So, lesson learned. Number 3, I believe, where both of you are kind of familiar, is from Mammoth Tuff. I know they've got 3 courses. I kind of went through the first 2 courses, which do overlap quite a bit, but just the expanse of it is just amazing. And this part here, where you're just riding in the open area, it's a complete opposite feeling for me for most of these other rides, because where I kind of want to stop and look at stuff, here I'm just like, I can't believe I'm riding through it. And that part, like, is the most amazing part here, where you just kind of like experience the whole area. And once again, elevation is kind of tough up there, but if you get acclimated, you're fine. And I know that they pick out the least sandy area over there, but you definitely want the wider tires. But Dave and Amanda have been working so hard to put this event together for years that it's so fantastic. Super big fan. Vic,
I'm sorry, I keep hearing some like weird feedback or something. I'm trying to figure out what it is.
Sounds like water.
It sounds like someone's on a CB radio. Like,
Yeah,
I'm not sure. But you got at Mammoth Tuff, the scale is off the charts. Do you guys hear that weird noise?
Yeah, I hear it.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I don't know what that is.
I don't think it's.
I don't have anything that makes noise.
Yeah, I don't have anything.
Did you get like some like digital voice enhancement?
Yeah.
The auto tune.
It's not my phone. I turn my.
Are you gonna start sounding like Daft Punk?
Yeah, but Mammoth Tuff was again, the elevation is no joke. The views are epic, but the elevation is no joke. And then at the end, there's some wind. But it was all worth it because, I mountain biked there for years and years in Mammoth, 20 years. And I had no idea how good the gravel riding was. It's completely different from what we do up on the mountain, like with the lifts and the single track stuff. totally worth doing. Even if you don't do the event, Mammoth Tuff, just go up there and check out the roads there because it's unlike anything else we've ridden. Like it was different from Big Bear, it's different from Catalina. It's got its own unique ecosystem, I guess. Different kinds of trees and rocks, and it was really, really cool. Just be prepared for that elevation.
Well, I mean, you guys know that area is like a biking mecca.
It's a total mecca. It's more of a mecca than I knew is the point, because it was already a mountain bike mecca. Even road, we've done road stuff up there, but I never had done gravel up there till Mammoth Tuff, and I was like, wow, I've been missing out.
Okay, well, we're gonna go to number 2. I think it's going to be a big surprise to both of you.
Oh, this place was terrible.
Yeah, look at that.
Oh, who wants to go there?
I was afraid of putting it on because I'm like, is this is this recency bias? Because you really just love the stuff you've just seen. But yeah, I mean, this was one of these things that you just kind of, I don't know if people who write history know that they're making history when it happens, but this kind of felt like you're definitely doing something fantastic.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. That's a good way to put it.
Yes.
Yeah, it's interesting because like the island is perfectly scaled for like the adventure that we had. Like we could do a longer 2-day trip and see a little bit more and go even slower and just enjoy the island a little bit more. But yeah, I mean, we had like 9 hours to complete this whole ride, so I think we nailed it.
It was definitely worth the boat ride and the nausea, because once we got there, from the second we got off the boat, it was great.
Perfect weather.
Yeah, and that first climb that you knew you're on an island, a mountain island. But then it was just like,
off the boat.
You couldn't take a bad picture. Anywhere you looked, it was like, yeah, it was better than I thought, like by far. Because I'd been to Catalina as a kid, and I kind of remembered it, but no, it was way better than I thought, especially on a bike.
Yeah, and there was hardly, ironically, the 2 bike packers we saw, we knew one of them at lunch.
Yeah, that was crazy.
Yeah, man.
I mean, and also, I was worried about bison. And, so I had to ride right past the bison while Zach laughed at me because I was so scared. But I survived the bison. And so that was cool to actually see one. We actually saw 2, but one up close. And
just how big they are.
It's
massive.
Like it's like big as a Volkswagen, and it's got horns. So yeah, I was not a fan of riding so close to that because I didn't want to be like our friend. Is it Joe?
Oh,
Tony. I'm sorry, Tony. Tony from Rock Gobbler that got smashed by the bull. I didn't want to be the next guy. So, but it didn't happen, so it's all good.
Well, we'll definitely plan for like a weekend or 2-day trip next year.
What's going to top Catalina? I don't understand. What could be better?
Yeah. Well, maybe you guys missed a production meeting, but this was kind of like a unanimous vote for number 1 at this thing. And
missed that one.
Okay, Big Sur. All right.
Big Sur. Right. And yeah, it's definitely by far the shortest. Maybe Half Moon Bay is in the 20s, but this is actually a little bit under 20. And Bill's pretty offended, so he's running out the door.
I got a plug in. I didn't have a plug.
But yeah, I mean, you're not directly on the coast. You know, you're on the old coast road, the older highway, which is well over 100 years old, and it you don't know what they were thinking when they built this road because
No.
it's definitely really steep. I don't know how you could have gotten stagecoaches up there. But then you supplement it by riding down Highway 1, which is fantastic. And I know the day that we did it, we could see the big clouds that covered a good portion of the area. But the first time I did it with Andy, it was super clear and gorgeous. That was fantastic. And you know, you just ask people across the world, where do you want to go visit? You probably either say Yosemite or Big Sur are two of the most gorgeous places to go. So Yosemite doesn't really have gravel directly there in the valley, which I think most people are thinking of. But Big Sur, you have the old coast road. And because it's so steep, you're kind of forced to stop and once you get to all the peaks. And then the fact that there's almost all these different climates you go through with the redwoods.
I was going to say there was like 10 different climates we went through. Hot, cold, windy, wet, dry, dusty. It was crazy. But I will give you this. Big Sur over Catalina. The lunch spot was superior. For sure. Like way. It wasn't even close. So
well, I was still pretty happy with Catalina. They could have gouged us there for lunch.
Spot wasn't. I mean, it was all right, but
it was for a place that has you trapped on an island for food. They could have really. I thought for what it was, I was expecting worse and a lot more money. Not saying it was cheap.
It wasn't great, dude.
But look, I'm not sending my Michelin friends out there to rate it, but I thought for what it was on an island, it was fine.
It was well situated. I'll say that.
Because
that's when we were in Twin Harbors. Two harbors.
Yeah, right. We're right on the beach.
Two harbors.
Pretty nice.
It was pretty nice. Yeah, the scene was really nice.
The scene was nice, but you know. Bring a PB&J in my Camelback next time.
Yeah, exactly. Next time, I'm just gonna pack it in. But the place at Big Sur, man, that was really good, and also well situated. Was it a stream or a river? There was water behind us.
I think it was part of the Big Sur River.
Oh man,
it actually
beautiful.
One of those things that went through. So yeah, just fantastic. And you know, we could have done some other roads and some other small parts past there, but yeah, it's amazing for 19 miles. It feels like a full day's ride.
It packed a heavy punch for 20 miles, and very, very, very fun. Even the road part was fun. Nice rollers.
So then, my question for both of you is, and you have to give me a specific gravel road because it's hard to do research, but is there like an area, a region of California that you're looking to go visit most, to kind of like knock off the list, or has you curious, or you're just good?
Well, that's a good question. If there is a region, it's going to be north, for sure. I mean, we did Palm Springs once, which was interesting. But north tends to be really, really beautiful and very diverse. And so I'm not sure exactly where, but definitely northern. I don't know exactly.
Yeah. I think same for me, because anything south, San Diego is probably similar to LA.
Yep. Not that different.
But we did, Zach, I'm trying to remember, we did a ride by San Luis Obispo one time.
Oh yeah. That was like Cayucas, but that was pretty similar to the Roica that Vic and I did, and that area was
Cambria. Cambria is great.
That was really nice. And then I think for me, more in NorCal, just because of like I did Old Kaz and got a taste of it, and would probably want to explore up there a little bit more. It's just logistics, for us coming down, from down in LA, trying to get up there, planning it.
I'm still a big fan of anything Santa Barbara area. I'm sure there's lots more stuff we could do.
Yeah.
And
Refugio off of there, I'm sure there's trails.
Yeah, when we did the gravel off of Gibraltar, I would love to revisit that. I think we only did that one time.
Yeah.
That was really, really, really nice. So I'm a big fan of Santa Barbara area.
Yeah, and doable in a day.
Yeah. Not a big drive.
Yeah.
Yeah. We can even do a train thing one time. We could take the train up.
Oh yeah. There was another road kind of out of what was it, Montecito or Santa Barbara
for Skip's birthday.
Yeah, there's a dirt road that takes you up to the east side of Caminos, to the top up there. And I guess Sam had done it, and I tried doing it like 3 months ago, and it was kind of washed out, which was really tough. I thought that was promising, but I turned around. But yeah, I definitely want to explore there. The other area I want to explore is actually an area where you two did an event, and I haven't, and that's up in Siskiyou County. When you guys did Grinduro, I know that course itself was a little tough, but
it was ridiculous. But okay, never mind.
Mountain bike.
But I heard that it's gotten the year after. I guess the course was far more palatable. But there's also the Greenhorn gravel grinder. There's the Shasta gravel grinder, and there's a 2-day event that I'm blanking on. One day is actually a road ride that goes into Oregon. But there's a guy, his name's escaping me, but he has a website called Honey Badger Rides, and he's got all these lists of routes up there, that kind of like borders Oregon, and it just looks gorgeous. And I was able to do a mini ride up there because I just happened to have a little extra time, and it does look really gorgeous. I'd love to go and explore that area up there. And then, here's another note. Just got into Ukiah. Low Gap is fantastic. I know that there's that other gravel ride that people have been talking about that goes a little bit north. I'm blanking on the name, but the town starts with a W. It goes out to the coast where the train used to go. It doesn't, but off of Highway 101. Will it? I think is the town.
I don't know. I know.
Okay.
Great.
Got it. So,
Really?
Willis. Anyways, yeah. But yeah, things are pretty hot right now. So picking and choosing is kind of tough. So Santa Barbara. I know we met a lot of people from San Luis Obispo at the Sea Otter that I'm really raring to go, and they have a Wednesday night ride. And there you go.
Oh, there he is.
Nice
You
look.
mean that?
Yes. Yes. Their investment in us is still paying dividends.
Yes.
But yeah, San Luis Obispo, another great area. I haven't put together like a big gravel guide there. So there are definitely gaps, and I think in another 5 years when I do make the best of, it basically, I guess if Big Bear was the top 10, so anything that ranks between 1 and 10 at this point, will make that list. So I think there's a lot of promising possibilities out there. So I feel like there's still a lot more to explore.
Lots to do, Zachary. Lots to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lots of editing. Lots of drone crashing.
Yes. Yes. I did. I don't know if I told you, but I did on our anniversary ride. I did crash it in the tree.
Yeah.
Yeah. So still learning. But anyways, guys, this has been fantastic. The fact that we've been able to share all these rides and go to these places and just being able to share these experiences and recognize that somebody else is like being flabbergasted in the same way just really just adds on.
Yes.
And the fact you guys have saved my ass out there a couple times.
I think we've all saved each other at least once.
Yeah. Sooner, at one point.
At least once.
Yeah. So, I mean, we're going to do well at the Trans San Gabriel this year. I think we're looking at the podium right here.
The what?
The podium?
Yeah.
The trans what?
Trans San Gabriel?
Oh, yeah.
That's the thing?
Isn't that?
What is that again?
Isn't that some mythic, unattainable?
Yeah, isn't that a unicorn thing? That's not a real thing.
Well, guys, thanks for joining. We've
Thank
many
you.
more adventures ahead. So thanks for.
I gotta say though, if it wasn't for you guys, I would still be riding dirt Mulholland on a Saturday, weaving around e-bikers. So I thank you. I thank you guys for getting me out there and showing me all this fun stuff. They're always an adventure, and I just really appreciate you guys.
That's Zach. I'll second that, and I give all the credit to Zach for getting us out of our rut of doing the same stuff over and over and over. And I've ridden places I never even heard of, thanks to Zach. And now, yes.
Yeah. Well, thank you.
Yes.
Right. Well,
I will give you that.
We'll be scheduling a lot more trips.
Okay.
Planning ahead a little bit more. There's definitely a few other things I have on my radar. But
And Vic can drive.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Got the team van now.
Yeah.
Well, thanks again, guys, for
All right.
everything. And hold on while I say goodbye to everyone else. But thanks everyone in GBC land for following our adventures, and see you out there.
Thank you.